If you have an Apple Watch, there's a good chance you're not using it to its full potential. I'm always amazed by how many people that I talk to who have an Apple Watch and use it every day, but have absolutely no idea about some of these amazing features. So in this video, I want to share with you 30 of my favorite hidden features and some of my top tips too that can bring your Apple Watch to the next level. And the best thing is, it doesn't really matter which Apple Watch you have. Right here I have the Series 8, but pretty much everything on this list will work with any other Apple Watch, whether that is the Ultra, the Series 7, the 6, the SE, all the way back to a lot of them even work on the Series 3. So with that being said, let's jump into the video. The very first one is actually gesture controls. So this allows you to use your entire watch with just one hand. So you don't need your other hand. You can pinch, you can clench, you can move your wrist around. It'll give you a cursor and you can navigate everything on your watch really easily using that. Now, of course, it does take some getting used to, but once you get the knack of how to actually wear your watch and where to pinch, it really does a fantastic job. And this can be found if you go to settings, then you go to accessibility, and then you enable what's called assistive. Now this was made to use the entire watch with just one hand, but for many people, that might not be what you're looking for, which brings us to number 2 on this list, quick actions. Now, quick actions allow you to do the same thing, clenching and twisting your wrist and things like that, to answer phone calls, to pause timers, to do little things like that, and also to take photos as well. So if you're using the remote camera app on your watch and you have your camera set up somewhere, you can pinch, it'll take your photo, so you don't have to actually like go and have a photo of you in a group looking like this, right? It's a lot more subtle if your hand's like down at the side or something like that. Moving on to number 3 on this list, this is the Taptic engine being used for getting directions. So your watch can tell you to turn left, turn right, and when your destination is very close, just by vibrating on your wrist a certain number of times. And you might think, why would I ever want this? Well, for one, I would use this all the time if I were biking. So when you're riding a bike, you can't always hear the directions. It's really hard to see. And if you don't have a place for your phone, taking your phone out, it can be dangerous to do that. So it's a lot easier to have vibrations on your wrist and know when you have to turn. And moving on to number 4, which is very similar to number 3, this tells you the time using haptics. So if you go to settings and go to clock, you can enable this. And essentially, if you just put 2 fingers on your watch and you hold them there for about a second, it'll vibrate on your wrist and it'll tell you what time it is with vibrations. This is great if you're in a meeting and you're just wondering how long it's going and you don't want to like be rude and look at your watch, so you just go and tap your fingers, it'll tell you what the time is. Similarly, if you're in a really dark place, maybe in bed or in a movie theater, and you don't want to blind yourself or other people, you could use it then as well. Moving on to number 5, this is changing the honeycomb menu into a list menu. Simply go and tap and hold the honeycomb menu and you can change it into a list menu. This will be alphabetical order, which tells you the name of the app next to it, which is great for anybody who is new to Apple. Next up, we have Find My iPhone, but a slight variation from the one you're used to. Rather than just going to the control center and tapping to make a sound on your iPhone, if you tap and hold, it'll actually turn the flash on, it'll blink on your phone. So if you are, for example, maybe at a loud party or something, then you could do that and find your phone really easily. And speaking of Control Center, you can also open your Control Center from any app, anywhere on the watch interface, simply by tapping and holding on the bottom for about a second before swiping up. That way you can always change the brightness, always change your connectivity, anything else in your Control Center, regardless of what app you're already in. And this next one, I know a lot of people that would really benefit from this. This is actually setting your clock forward or backward by a couple minutes. So people that are habitually late to things often do this with their car, but an Apple Watch syncs with your phone, so you might assume you can't change your time, but you actually can. You can change the time on just the watch and set it forward by just a couple minutes by going to settings and then going to clock, and you can set it forward by maybe 5 or 10 minutes just to help you stay on time a little bit better. And speaking of cars, the next one is the ability to use your Apple Watch as a key for your car. Now, my car is nowhere near expensive enough to have this feature, but a lot of nicer cars out there, BMWs for example, allow you to connect your phone to your car. So your iPhone has Apple Pay, has a card in there that is your key, and you can add that to your watch as well and use your watch to unlock your car. But speaking of unlocking, you can also unlock, regardless of how expensive your car is, you can unlock your Mac, your MacBook, your Mac Pro, iMac, whatever, using your Apple Watch. Simply on your Mac, go to System Preferences, go to Security, and go to Use Apple Watch, and this will allow you to unlock without ever needing a password, simply by wearing your Apple Watch and being close to your laptop. The next one on this list is actually the ability to use Siri on your watch. Now, I've used Siri quite a bit to translate, so if you just want to know quickly, like, how do I say hi in this language? How do I say thank you? You can ask Siri how to do that, but of course it is definitely limited, small display. You're not going to get a big translation there, which is why it's always better to actually know the language, which ties me into the sponsor of today's video, which is Speakly. Now, Speakly is an app that teaches you how to learn different languages. I've been using it for a little while to learn Spanish before my upcoming trip to Spain, so I can get around, order food, and understand things a little better. The app gamifies the learning as well, so you have streaks on there. Even though I lose my streaks all the time, I'm not really good at learning languages, but you can choose your level as well. So I chose the beginner level, of course, because clearly I am an absolute beginner when it comes to learning Spanish, but the app also helps you build a larger vocabulary with many different styles of learning. So they've got listening exercises, they've got live situations, they've got flashcards, they've got review segments, and they even have live tutors available so you can test your progress and ask your own questions to help your learning accelerate even more. The app also allows you to choose your focus, whether that is reading and writing or speaking the language, so it can really be catered to exactly what you're looking for. Speakly also adjusts to your learning speed and works on both your phone and your desktop, both iOS and on Android. And if you're interested in getting started, I have a link down below that'll give you a 7-day free trial, and you can save up to 60% on an annual subscription. So thanks to Speakly for sponsoring this video. Getting back to the Apple Watch tricks. The next one on the list is holding a call until you find your phone rather. So if you get a call on your watch, say you're outside by your car and your phone's inside, rather than like sprinting inside and you miss the call, or instead of answering on your watch when you're out in your driveway, you can go on your watch, tap the 3 dots and say answer on iPhone. It'll tell the other end of the line, wait on it, like wait a second. It'll put them on hold and play a sound until you get to your phone and actually answer that. And of course, that kind of ties in with the idea that some things are just easier to do on your iPhone. And so one of them might be typing, another one might just be navigating and changing your watch face, things like that. And so if you ever want to manage your watch from your phone, what you can do is go to Settings, Accessibility, and go to Apple Watch Mirroring. And this will mirror your watch on your phone so you can customize it and change anything you'd want to from the convenience of a larger screen on your phone. On a slightly different note, we can actually take screenshots on this watch by pressing both buttons simultaneously. You can enable this by going to Settings, General, and then Screenshots. And if you wonder why you would ever want to do this, well, I would do this, for example, if I were out and about listening to music and I really liked a song, I could go into Spotify and just, screenshot that so that later I can go back and find out what that is. And it's easier than at the time, like going in and adding to a playlist or something like that. Now, this next one might seem basic, but I had to add it because a lot of people that I surveyed didn't actually realize you could do this. If you double press the crown, it'll toggle between your most recent app. So it does save you a lot of time that you don't have to go back to your honeycomb, find the app again, and go into one at a time. Toggling between them makes multitasking actually feasible on the Apple Watch. You can also save yourself a lot of time by reorganizing your control center. So if you swipe up from the bottom, your control center might have a lot that you don't need. If you go all the way to the bottom, you can edit this and you can either add, remove, or rearrange things by tapping and holding them within your control center. Probably one of the features that I value most on my Apple Watch is actually the environmental noise notifications. I think it's really important. Like, I review a lot of earbuds and I really need my hearing to be as good as possible. So I don't want to have any hearing damage from being at, loud clubs or concerts or bars or whatever. And so having noise notifications that tell me when I'm in an environment that's over 90 decibels or 100 decibels, I think is really convenient. So if you go into settings on your watch, go to noise, you can not only enable this, but choose what the threshold is of where you will be notified. Speaking of phone calls, you can also silence the call if you're just really not into accepting the call, just by palming the watch. This will silence it on your phone and on your watch as well. Of course, the Apple Watch has a lot of different apps, and I made a full video about some of my favorite apps on the Apple Watch. Now, one of the best ways to leverage the power of your phone with your watch is actually through the Shortcuts app. Now, Shortcuts on your watch not only allows you to do all of the shortcuts you made on your phone, for example, texting somebody or doing whatever, but you can also add those as complications on your watch face. So you can see right here, if I just tap on my watch face on the right side in that complication, it'll open up the whole thing to send a text, and I'm able to access that very quickly. There's also a nightstand mode on here. So if you go into settings, go to general and go to nightstand mode, you can put this next to your bed and it'll show you the time in a really nice dim layout. It's gonna be in whatever orientation you need it to be in based on your watch charger. And when you're doing this, it shows the charging like as a little circle there. If you wanna see what the charging percentage is, just tap the green circle. Getting into the whole category of fitness here, there are a lot of different fitness-oriented tips and tricks I wanted to show you, so I figured I'd put it in an entire category. The first one is offline music with the watch while you're running. So I love going for runs and not bringing my phone. I don't want to carry a phone, I don't want an arm sleeve, I don't want a pocket, I don't want a fanny pack. I just want to run with my watch and my music and nothing else. I mean, besides like clothes, obviously, but running with this is great. So you can connect your AirPods to this, you can download songs offline on Spotify, and then you can go for a run and never have to worry about having your phone with you. And if you have an LTE model, of course, you can also use Siri, you can also listen to online Spotify, and of course, you could make some emergency phone calls if you ever needed to. If you go into settings, go to workout, and then go to auto pause, I would recommend enabling this if you are, for example, in a city where you're running and there's stoplights and things like that. It's a great way to automatically pause whenever you stop running. But if you don't enable this and you suddenly need to pause your workout, you could also do the really convenient thing of pressing both buttons at the same time. But keep in mind, one of the earlier tips I said was that you can do this to take a screenshot. If you enable both, it weirdly does both at the same time. So if you're in a workout and you press both, it'll pause your workout and it'll also take a screenshot of your paused workout. Of course, Apple Watches are like large display as far as watches go, but it's still like, pretty small display. And so when you're running and like moving around a lot, it can be hard to see small text on your watch. So it's really important that you show only the most important text there and you optimize it for your own vision. And so to customize your workout screen on the watch app, my watch app on your iPhone, you can go to workout and then go to view, and you can customize what's shown up on each workout individually. So your running workout can show different metrics in a different layout than other workouts. I think that is incredibly useful. Additionally, you can also enable an end workout reminder. So I think we've all done this before, especially with other watches other than the Apple Watch. I will go for a long run. I'm so excited about my run, whatever. I get back to the car. I forget to pause it or stop it. I get in my car, I start driving, and then later it shows me a graph of like my average speed and like it jumps up to like 60 miles per hour. So that's where you get a reminder, of course, on the Apple Watch to end your workout. To enable this, go into settings and go to workout. You can also set manual heart rate zones. So if you, for some reason, don't like the heart rate zones that are assigned to you, maybe you talk to your doctor and they recommended different heart rate zones, you can go into settings, go to workout, and go to heart rate zones and customize each of your heart rate zones based on your own needs. You can also skip the workout countdown. So if you have, for example, like a 5K you're running and they shoot a gun or whatever, it makes some kind of bang, then you want to start it right away. You don't want to miss the first 3 seconds. And in order to skip the countdown, you simply tap the middle of the countdown, it'll skip it, and you're ready to go. So the next one on this list requires a little bit of help from your iPhone. So what you can do is go on your iPhone, go to settings, go to focus, tap on the plus and create your own custom focus mode. You can choose the color, what this is for, and what it's actually going to do. Then on your Apple Watch, whenever you swipe up, you can go and enable your own custom focus mode from the control center, and this will do whatever you want it to. 29, 30, yeah, so those are my top 30 hidden features for the Apple Watch. If you have anything that I didn't recommend, be sure to go down and leave a comment. I'm always interested in learning about new tips about the Apple Watch. And now the next step, before you click off this video, is to head over to this next video and check out my top apps for the Apple Watch. Now in that video, I recommended a lot of things that can really bring your Apple Watch to the next level and give you drastically more functionality. So if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien, and I'll see you over there.